that what you got for a second derivative? What's the third derivative? I don't actually have that one on my paper.
X over X.
5/2. All right, did everybody get that for the third derivative?
So this would be a d sub d of n.
Guys, in your little shortcut menu, it should be a d of n. Go back to this.
Now, here they have a d of n.
Now allow you to pick 3. Now, if we set this equal to 0, what answer do you get? Zero should, right? So we have 0. What's over here? What's over here? This should be minus and this should be plus once you put them in. Because that means it's going to something like that. It's got to be a maximum. It's just asking for a max. The only number you have, so it has to be a maximum. So now we plug the max into this. We want f double prime of 0. We know this has got to be the max because of, well, it's going to be 0. You understand what I did? Okay, right here. When I take a derivative and I set it equal to 0, to find a maximum or minimum, I have to do this test, right? So when I set this equal to 0, x equals 0. It's the only thing it can be. So I put 0 here. Down here on the bottom is going to be 1 to the 5/2 power. It's going to be 0 over 1, which is going to be, well, yeah, 0 over 1. Therefore, it's 0. So x equals 0. At that point, we know it's got to be a max because it's the only one we have. Right? So now we want the max of this. That's what this says. We want the max of the second derivative. We know the second derivative occurs at 0. So now I got to do f double prime of 0 to get a number. Right? So f double prime of 0, what is that going to be? Because it's really 1 over x squared plus 1 to the 3/2 power. Should be 1. Should get 1. Right? So now I know f double prime of 0 equals 1. Everybody agree? Everybody on board? Okay. So imagine if this was just f of x. And I say, I want to know where the max is on this f of x. What would you have to do? You would take the derivative, set it equal to 0, right? So I took the derivative of this, and I set it equal to 0. Once I get that number, I know x equals 0. I still don't know if that's a max or a min. You could do the test where you put 0 here. Remember, we picked a number here, say maybe -1, and then maybe 1 over here, to find out is it positive or negative. Well, if I put negative here, I'm going to get a negative number. That's negative. If I put 1 here, I'm going to get 2 is a positive. Is it negative, negative? So it's inclusive?
No, it should be positive.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, positive, negative. It's going up, and then it's going down. For a maximum. Sorry. So now we know the maximum of this occurs at 0. But I need to know what is that number, and that's why I plug in f double prime of 0. I plug the 0 into this, and it comes out as 1. Because I need to know where this says I have to have the max. Well, the easy way to find the max is take the next derivative, set it equal to 0, and then do that little test. It's like the first derivative test, but on the third derivative. Okay, so now that we have this, f double prime is 0, now let's just plug in the numbers that we have. What's my a? My A, my lower bound. What's my upper bound? 1, that's my B. I've got 12, I'm looking for N, and I know the max of F double prime of X is, so I plug everything in. So I've got 1 minus 0 cubed over 12n squared times 1, and that has to be less than or equal to the absolute value of E. What is the absolute value of E again? No. Look up there. What did I say I want it to be? 10 to the negative 2, right? So I replace the absolute value of E with 10 to the negative 2. I have to keep in my mind's eye, it's still the absolute value, right? What do you mean I flip the sign?
Over there, it was E is less than equal.
Oh, it should be less than. Sorry. There we go. All right, now that we've got all that squared away, now it's just algebra. I get 1 over 12n squared has to be greater than or equal to 10 to the negative 2. Now, if I take the reciprocal of both sides, what happens to the inequality? It flips. Just like if you multiply by 1 or divide by 1, if you take the reciprocal of both sides, which you're allowed to do, it flips. Why would I take the reciprocal of both sides on this? So they're both on top, because technically these both are in bottom, right? So I take the reciprocal of both sides, I got 12n squared has to be less than or equal to 10 squared. And now how do I get, let's see, well I don't even have to ask y'all, y'all are in calculus. N squared is less than or equal to 10 squared over 12, and then n is less than or equal to plus or minus the square root of 10 squared over 12. Go ahead and calculate what you get. Please note this plus or minus takes care of my absolute value for me. Anytime you take this, no, just do this to get a number. That number will be the plus or minus. I want a decimal to 3 decimal places. So n is less than or equal to what? Do I have a second on that?
Yeah.
This is plus or minus, right? Cool. Cool. So then, how many n's do I have to have? Let's think about this. Your n has to be less than or equal to plus or minus 2.887. So my n's got to be 3. I have to have a partitions of 3. Because this number's got to be greater than my n. So if I use n equal 3, you're home free. Hold on, we messed up our sign somewhere. Less than or equal to. Here. So all my steps are the same. So this is still good. Then I flip, I have this, 100 over 12. How did for some reason I switched the inequality on my paper. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I switched the inequality on my paper. No, I didn't.
Well, why are we flipping it in the first place?
Well, it makes the algebra easier.
I just need the sign, like, how do you do I thought you only flip the sign.
No. When you take the reciprocal of both sides, you have to flip the inequality. That's a rule. Yeah, I mean, proofread my paper, mine here. I did the exact same thing. I don't see where we went different. Hold on. Would it be where I started at? No, because I started right here. It's the exact same, isn't it?
One's flipped the whole way.
I think it's because of this. Look at my very top line. I have that on my top line, right? Right here. Negative, positive. That's what it is. I had to do the absolute value. And that's why I flipped it. Because my E has to be less than. I chose to do the positive one. Okay, guys, here's where I went wrong. The absolute value, right? The definition of the absolute value, there's a positive and a negative, right? So I actually had to split the positive and the negative, right? Here's your negative 10 to the negative 2, your error, and your positive 10 to the negative 2. Now what I'm looking for, I'm not going to get a negative trapezoid, right? So would I solve on the negative side? No. Would I solve on the positive side? This is a negative 2. Exactly the same. All right, so that means we're going to solve here. Well, look at the difference. Here's my E. This should be what? This is positive. It should be flipped. This should be less than or equal to. Because we're working this half right here because of the absolute value. So you do have to pay attention to the absolute value. You get the wrong answer, or you get something funky because we realize we got something funky, right? So then this flips. This flips. This flips. Then my n has to be greater than or equal to that number of 2 point, which now makes way more sense, doesn't it? And we don't need the plus or minus. Now that makes way more sense, doesn't it? It definitely makes way more sense. Hey, it's early in the morning, blah, blah, blah. So you have to take care of the absolute value first. The way you're going to do the absolute value is this compound inequality. You have to have a negative and a positive, and then you might as well just solve for the positive. You can solve for the negative and get the same answer, except it's going to be a negative answer, which would look really funky like what we got, right? It's still the same number, though. Yes, ma'am? Which one? This? I don't know. I really don't know. Yes, ma'am? Okay, so this is really 1 over 12 n squared is less than or equal to 1 over 100, right? So if I flip both of them upside down, I get 12n squared greater than or equal to 100, which is the 10 squared. Yes, you want me to see another one? Yes, most definitely. After that screw up. Oh wait, we're not even done with this problem yet. We're not even done with this problem yet. All right, so now I know n is 3. Now we need to actually find my estimate, my error. And we know it's going to be plus or minus 2.887, right? I say so? All right, here we go. I want to erase this. We don't need this anymore. That's just to find the error. Can't believe I forgot that. All right. So now we're doing the trapezoid rule. 1 over, what was that? What was it? B minus A over 2n times f of 0. So my delta x is what? My delta x is 1/3. B minus A, 1/3. So my next one is going to be f of 1/3. So plus 2 f of 1/3 plus 2 f of 2/3 plus, now we're to 3/3, so plus f of 1. Yeah? Yep. And then this really becomes 1 over 6, 1/6. When you throw that in the calculator, because I know you all can throw this in the calculator, you're going to get about 1.514.
There's so many mistakes here, bro.
I know, right? Look, and I even made another one. It's 1.154. It's one of those days. I don't even want to post this. It's so bad. There. All right. Hold it. Yes. 1/6 positive. All right. Now my error was in 10 to the negative 2, right? So I need to do 1.154 plus 0.001 or 0.1. Come on, y'all help me out. 0.1. It's been a long day. Yeah, 0.1. And then 1.154 minus 0.01, 10 hundredths. So 1.144, 1.164. That means my area is between these two numbers, guaranteed. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, my columns don't match up.
Okay.
They should be over one more. Columns didn't match up. So basically, this was my approximated area, right, with the 3. But when I went through the process to find the error, I knew using 3 triangles or 3 trapezoids, my error was going to be within 10 to the negative 2. So once I have this, then I can refine it down. I can say, you know what, I know it's between this number and this number. Somewhere in between those numbers, it's guaranteed. It may be 1.154, or it could be something different, but I guarantee you it's going to be in between these two numbers. Yes? Amanda's shaking her head no. I know there's a lot of mistakes in this one. What?
But is that in the second one we're adding? Is that a 3?
5. All right. Well, let's just scrap this one. Y'all, we finished it. Well, let's do another one. Yep.
So what was the
Doing the error? I can guarantee, like if I just do the trapezoid, this is my estimated, right? But I don't know how accurate it really is. But I can guarantee you that the real area is between, from an error of 10 to the negative 2, it is between this number and this number. I can guarantee that. The more I can ask for a larger area, which I'm going to in a second, and you're going to get a really small number, and you can almost guarantee that that area will be between those two really small numbers, those really two numbers. They'll be real close together.
Why don't we just have n?
Well, because this is a way to estimate it. You've got to be able to estimate as well as find the infinity. If we do the error as infinity or whatever, isn't that just a definite integral? Because we could just do the definite integral on this and find the area, yes? But do you know how to do this definite integral yet? Because this is not exactly a, well, this could be a half circle, huh? No.
Why not?
This would have to be minus. So, all right, let's do another one.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So for B and A, do we just assume that it's 1 and 0?
No, it's your lower bound and your upper bound.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Got it.
Yeah, this is A, this is B.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay. My God, I was just not looking at that. I
Is
guess.
it? Just always. Wow, this is probably the worst problem I have solved for the whole time. Wow. Not even awake yet. Woo. All right, boys and girls.
I'm not saying that. That means we have to have it on Monday, right?
Okay, here we go. Here is my function. I'm taking the integral from 0 to pi over 2. I want the absolute, help if I put the function. Sine of theta, d theta. I want the absolute, my error, to be less than or equal to 10 to the negative 5. Right? So let's take care of the absolute value first and foremost, right? I'm going to have a negative 10 to the negative 5, less than or equal to my error, which is less than or equal to 10 to the negative 5. So I'm using this one, yes? All right. Now, what's my first step? Uh-huh.
How do you know what side?
Do you want to use the negative side? Can we have negative trapezoids? No. Can we have positive trapezoids? There you go. Because what we're actually finding is the number of trapezoids. All right, what do I need to know first off?
Wait,
Yeah, the second.
Sine goes to cosine. Cosine. Sine goes to cosine. Should be cosine, right? So this one, the third one should be cosine. Am I right? The third one's cosine? It should be cosine. Second one should be negative sine. Or am I off? Oh, I'm doing derivatives. I'm going the wrong way.
Not the integral.
I'm going the wrong way. Good God. Starting this problem out good, ain't it? Woo! Alright, second derivative is negative sine.
What? No. Negative side. Negative. No, the third one.
The second is negative sine.
Yeah, no matter what this.
The third one is negative cosine. Okay. Now we've got past that. Jesus. Okay. We only have 5 minutes? No. How do we get out of here?
40.
No, we got 12 minutes. Alright, negative cosine of x equals 0. What is this, 1? What is this? No, it's 0, isn't it? This x equals 0. Cosine of 0 is 0. So we want to know where is f double prime at 0? A negative sine of 0. Negative 1? Is it negative 1? Sine of 0 is 1. Multiplied by 1 is negative 1. I'm having a bad day. On my paper, it's supposed to be 1. Negative sign of 0?
Yeah.
Something's off there. Alright, what does negative cosine equal 0? Is that 1?
Probably is. Negative 1 sign.
Negative 1? What is arc sine of negative 1? Arc sine of 1? It'd be that makes sense. Alright, hold on. Arc cosine of 0 is 1, correct?
No, it's pi over 2.
It's pi over 2. Good. This makes more sense to me now. Man, you would think I got a lot of sleep, and I did. Alright, so now we know the maximum curve is at pi over 2. So okay, so let me explain my madness because I've been off the reservation today. So we know we have the third derivative right here is negative cosine of 0. I solve for x. I bring my negative over, doesn't matter. I take arc cosine of 0. Right? This is what x is going to equal. That's just solving a simple trig equation. You put that in, you get pi over 2. That's your answer. We don't need all the other answers for it because in pre-cal you learn to find all the other answers, but it's only pi over 2. That's all we need because that's what's in my A and B. So now, for f double prime, we need to do pi over 2 of negative sine of pi over 2.
That's separated in the matter.
Now, so what did you get here? What's sine of pi over 2? Sine of pi over 2. It's negative 1. Now, on my thing, I have the absolute value. I am absolutely on fire here. Not very confused. I'm just having a bad day. I think I wrote the equation, the air equation wrong. Because I'm blind. Tell me right there. That's absolute value.
Yeah.
Because I'm blind. Add this to your formula. Add that to your formula. It's an absolute value. Okay, so y'all remember yesterday when y'all said, hey, what does this little line mean? I said, I don't mean anything. It's because I couldn't see the absolute value because I'm blind. I'm blind. Alright. So we want the absolute value of this, so this is going to be 1. That's the number I was trying to find.
Yeah.
That about killed me. Now that we have everything right,
Now that we have that, we can get a solve with ease.
yeah, now it's pretty straightforward.
Oh, that makes sense now.
It does make sense now. Whew. But make sure you add that to your formula. I just could not see that with all the little brackets. I tell you how to make sure you copy things down right. I didn't copy it down right. Not even in my notes from last year. Yeah. No, it is in my notes from last year.
We didn't see that, was it?
Wow. Okay, so here we go. So, AB, let's do this equation. We know, let's see, what is my B? Vanessa, what's my B?
It's pi over 2.
Pi over 2 minus 0 cubed over 12n squared has to be less than or equal to 10 to the negative 5, right? You don't care? This gives me pi cubed over 8 all over 12n squared is less than or equal to 10 to the negative 5. I'm rolling now. I'm good now. I'm somewhat awake.
We're not.
Man, today I feel like I'm faking being a teacher. And this is one of these days, man. Alright, this ends up being pi cubed over 76 n squared. Has to be less than or equal to 10 to the negative 5. We have 5 minutes left. 76. 96. I can't arithmetic either. 96. Alright. 96. Take the reciprocal of both sides. 96 n squared over pi cubed is greater than or equal to 10 to the 5th. N squared is greater than or equal to 10 to the 5th times pi cubed over 96 over 96. N is greater than or equal to the square root of 10 to the 5th power times pi cubed over 96. Voila. I can do some math. N is greater than or equal to 179.717. So my N I would have to use would be what? So I would have to do 180 trapezoids to get my error within 10 to the negative 5. We're not doing that. I'm not doing 180 trapezoids.
That works out.
That works out? But this one flowed a lot better once I realized its absolute value up there. Wow. Totally bundled this lesson today.
Apparently, watching this
It is what it is. There's some days I'm off. This is one of the days I'm off. Luckily, this won't be on. Odds are this won't be on the AP test. So, watch this year be on the AP test. This video is on the AP test. It would be a free response.
I'm going to be in the middle of the test. It's on there. Walk out. Say, Mr. Buzzard, you lied to me.